Hello, welcome to my full spoiler free review of Disclosure Day. And again, I'm going to reiterate this is a spoiler free. I'm not going to give anything away. No, I'm not going to give anything away. So, in case you've come here directly and have not seen the short, I'm going to go through the overview. Overview is if you found out we weren't alone, you weren't alone in the universe, and someone were to prove it to you, um, what would you do? Would it scare you? Um, so I'm Shay, and let's just get into my full spoiler free review. So, first and foremost, this is Steven Spielberg's new movie. It's got Emily Blunt. And, I do want to add there's going to be no clips, no images, anything like that. I'm not going to say, because people know that it's some sort of, you know, otherworldly movie, and I'm not going to talk about any of that stuff. I'm seeing the movie again tomorrow, and it's a Q&A with Steven Spielberg and Emily Blunt, and that plays before the movie, so I'm looking forward to that because hopefully it's going to answer some of my questions, because I have a lot of questions. And this movie was really well done. And I was talking to my friend about it, and I said, I'm really surprised that people didn't clap after the movie finished. I was expecting people to, but honestly, I think it's because people were still digesting this movie because it is an intense movie. I leaned over to my friend at one point and I said, this movie is really stressful. And she said, I know. I said, I was talking about things after, and I was like, my anxiety. I felt anxious. I felt really stressed, and I had to like check in on my breathing because I felt like my heart was going really fast. It had you completely engaged. And it's a movie that, it you don't get thrown into things, which I liked. And it's one that, kind of builds and then builds and then builds. And just when you think it's all right, we've built and we're at, okay, we made it to this point. It's like, no, we're going to keep going. We're going to keep going. And, it's a movie that as I was theorizing about things, my friend was like, "Oh yeah, like I didn't think about it in this way, and I didn't think about this in this way." And then as I was talking, I'm like, "Oh wait, I have questions about this," and "Oh wait, I have questions about that." And it's a movie that in many ways it there's a lot of like what's going on in our world today, and through time, I feel like people will be able to relate and kind of have some sort of connection to this movie in a way. It's a movie that really goes into the unexplained and how sometimes you have multiple hands in the pot, and multiple opinions, and you have some that have one view and they feel their view is correct, and then you have others that have the polar opposite view, and you have wars of opinion, warring different sides, and there's different levels in this movie, in many ways. And it's a movie that in some areas it comes full circle, which is really interesting. And it's like it's layered. Like after watching the movie, I was like, oh, like there's so much symbolism in this movie. Like there's so much to this movie. um like secrets is a word that I can would use. And it's a movie that I would say like good versus evil, but it's not straightforward. And a term, cover up, is a good word that I would say. Um, yeah, like there's a lot in this movie, and there's a lot to unpack. I mean, the CGI was great. The soundtrack in it was fantastic. Um, and the advancements with technology in this movie as well was amazing. And it's you really wonder of like, when you see some technology in the movie, you're like, I wonder what the world would be like if this technology did exist. Does it exist? That's the other thing about this movie. There's things that you see and you're like, could this actually be happening or could it not? And how much of this is taken like inspired by true events and how much of it is not. And it's like fact fiction. Like there's just so much to this movie. The acting was fantastic. And it's one that, like, there's so many unexpected turns. Like, just when you think you've figured out, what's happening with some of the characters or the story, it's like, oh, we're going to throw something else into the hat and throw something else in the hat and throw something else in the hat. And you're like, I thought I understood this person, or thought I understood this situation, or thought I understood the information that, was just presented. It's like, oh, no, that it goes so much deeper. And like, yeah, I mean, the technology alone that you see in this movie and how it's used is, I mean, I think this movie is going to potentially, I could see it creating some sort of existential crisis in some people. I could see that. And it's a movie that unnerves you. Like, how much do we actually even know? Or how much do we not know? I think this movie is one that is going to it's going to have a lot of questions. And again, I think this is a movie that you're going to want to see more than once. I mean, as I'm talking about it right now, I'm thinking and I'm like seeing scenes in my head, and my stomach is like twisting in knots because it's like I'm trying to talk about this movie in spoiler free, where I'm talking about my experience, but I'm not talking about crucial details that are, going to give things away. I'm not trying to talk about I'm trying to talk about it in a way that's going to intrigue people even more than they already are, or it's going to create a buzz or stir interest in those that weren't too sure about seeing it and now they want to see it. But there's like under the surface, it's just like, I just want to talk about this movie because there's so many thoughts that are popping in my head. There were times in this movie that I got so frustrated and irritated at a situation that was happening on screen. And it was just like, I just wanted to reach in the screen and just shake. And then there were times that it's like, I was feeling good, or sorry, bad about something. It's like, oh, like I hate that. I really dislike it. I'm angry at this. And then it's like, I'd shift over. I'm like, okay, well, I can kind of understand it from, maybe this other perspective, or maybe this other perspective, or, I'm viewing things in a slightly different way. And then it's like, oh, wait, never mind. I'm back to the other way where it's like, I don't like this at all. And this is making me feel a type of way. And, it's a movie that has surprises. I mean, even the movie poster, you know, that gets explained. Like, there's so much to this movie, and there's just so much. There really is. My mind is being blown. Like, I'm so happy I'm seeing this movie again tomorrow, and I'll be able to actually go into like more thoughts about this movie and the things I liked and the things that surprised me, and actually talking about details, because I have so much that is like packed away that it's like I can't talk about that right now. There were funny moments in this movie as well. There were funny moments. There were moments that it's like you don't know if you should laugh or not, for various reasons. There were pumping moments. There were uncomfortable moments. There were stressful moments. There were moments that you kind of squirm in your seat. And, like I said earlier, it is a movie that seems to go full circle, where it's like, oh, this was referenced at one point, and it's like, oh, it seems like it's being referenced again in a different way. And honestly, it's a movie full of surprises, and I know that people are going to have a lot to say about this movie, not in a bad way. Genuinely, I think this movie is going to do really, really, really well. And truly, I think it's a movie that people are going to have a lot to say. Like, I already have a lot to say, and I've only seen the movie once. It's like, and I want to hear other people's thoughts. Like, I genuinely want to hear other people's thoughts and, theories and all of that, which when I do my full spoiler-free review, I want to hear it all. I don't want spoiler stuff in the comments in this video. I really don't, because I know that there's going to be spoilers at some point about this movie, and I want to do my part in not, like, uploading my video today. I want to do my part in not adding to any spoilers. Keep it very surface level. And not add to the spoiler pool. Tomorrow, I'm going to do a spoiler video, but I'll be clear that it is spoiler related. Another thing about this movie is that, like, it really goes to show how connected we all can be. It's really interesting how they go into how things are connected with one another and how things are presented as well. Where something that presents as unusual might have something deeper to it. And yeah, honestly, this movie had so many surprises, and honestly, Emily Blunt did a fantastic job. She, I have to say, was like a chameleon. There was so many. She was a chameleon, like, unbelievably. She morphed in so many ways in this movie. Am I going to say what ways? Nope. But she morphs in different ways. And it was one of those that it was like, what? Can I just see that? I'm like, what? It's unbelievable, honestly. And, I felt myself trying to put myself in the shoes of the people in this movie, and I don't know what I would have done. I don't know. I don't know. But I think that's everything that I can say or have to say for my spoiler free video. Um, I don't think that there's anything more that I can think of. I think that is it. I'm going to call it there because I don't want to say more accidentally. Um, if you liked my review, you can hit the like button. You can comment down below. Is this a movie that you're excited about? How is my review? Did I do a good job in keeping it spoiler free? Um, I really do try. If I, messed up, let me know. Is this a movie you're looking forward to? Is this a movie that you want to go see now, when you weren't sure before? Is this a movie that you want to go see even more now after listening to this review? Um, you know, as always, thank you so much to everyone that has actually listened up to this point. I'm anticipating people to actually just listen to me and not actually sit and watch me, but thank you to those that actually sit and watch me talk. I had someone that I know said that my videos remind him of like talking to a friend post movie, where like you're walking out of the theater and you're talking about it, or you're in the car. It's like having a conversation with a friend, which I absolutely love. I think that's everything. Yes. And so the next one is going to be my full review tomorrow night. And I'm genuinely looking forward to seeing the Q&A, because maybe the Q&A actually is after the movie. That would actually make a lot more sense, that the Q&A happens after the movie, because then questions get answered. I think that's going to be the case. I'm excited about the Q&A. So thank you again, and until the next one. Bye.